Yay! We are live. I'm so excited. I am Michelle Eldridge, as you know. What up, what up, what up? This is going to be one of the best videos like this. You're probably my favorite guest that I've ever had. Like, if you can't tell, we got a pretty big deal on today. So I'm really, really excited. I've never got to have Jess on. She's always doing all the things. And so I highly recommend that you tag your team, you get them on here, you tag your friends, your business bestie, all the people, because this is one video that you probably won't want to miss, especially if you're feeling stuck or like you struggle with money, because a lot of it may be things that you're not even aware of. So Jess, how are you? Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you for having me, Michelle. I'm honored that I'm your favorite guest because haven't you had Ray on here? I mean,
I have had Ray on.
I won't tell him. I mean, maybe I will. We'll see.
Well, it's just easy. I think not only will I say that, but I bet my audience will agree. It's just you can really relate and resonate with most of my audience are female, so I think that's what happens. But Jessica Higdon, if you do not know who she is, I don't know how you don't know who she is. But she's literally the epitome of a mentor. She mentors the mentors for like she's mentored mentors. She's at 21 years old. She was making six figures at 21 years old. She became the top female income earner in the company that she was in. She's not affiliated with any company now, but she built that through like strangers. So I think that's why a lot that I resonate with you a lot too, because my business is strangers. Like I think the first time that you said, I remember it was an event or something, and you're like, are you reaching out to 10 people a day? No, it was a video. It was a video that you said that. And I'm like, no, but I'm gonna. So at the event, when you asked it, I was able to be like, yes, I am. And that's what did it for me was reaching out to people. So anyway, Jessica's incredible. What is it, Forbes? I think 5,000. Like the Higdon Group's been featured on a lot of things. Y'all know how obsessed I am with all things Ray and Jessica. So I want to jump right into it because she can't stay long. But I want to talk about something that is touchy for people sometimes, and I think it's because it's just they're not aware of how they're affected. Maybe from a young age to adulthood, and how that can, their relationship with money becomes stressful, or they're even, I know for you, it was more stressful the more you had. And for some, it's all they think about because when they have none. So I'd love for you to share what would you say to somebody who's constantly, whether they have money or not, always stressing about money? Like, what would you encourage them to do, or how would you, what would you recommend for somebody like that?
Yeah, well, again, appreciate you having me on here. And Michelle is just somebody who you just emanate what this profession and what being an entrepreneur is all about, because it's coming from no matter where you are, where you've been, and making it happen by doing the work. And so I just have to commend you, and I'm really excited that I'm on here today and I get to be interviewed by you. So I would say, to answer your question, and it's such a good one, because people think that as you make more money, your inner dialogue about money just goes away. And that's really not the case. In fact, sometimes it can grow, because I'll tell you a little bit about my backstory around it, and then how I overcame some of those obstacles. So now I spend freely, I spend wisely, but I spend freely without the guilt, without the shame, without the worry. And I don't have to worry about money anymore, which is an amazing thing. And again, I say that and you think, well, duh, I mean, you make a lot of it. Well, yeah, but I was still worrying about it. That's the weird thing, right? It doesn't go away. So whether you don't know how you're going to put food on the table for your kids next week, and I understand your pain, or you make millions of dollars and you worry about it going away or where it's going to go, or if you're putting it towards the right things. Those are all places that I've been, maybe not in your direct situation, but I've been in both of those places, so I can help with that. And your mindset around money is everything, because it shapes everything you do in this world. Whether you want to believe that or not, it's just how we operate. We are a monetary society. You need it. You need it. It's a great thing. It enables you to do great things. But if you don't change your mindset around it, your physical outer world will look very different. So for me, when I was little, I had two parents with very different circumstances. So my father was a very successful entrepreneur, and he made a ton of money, did very well for himself. And then my mom, she was working as a computer consultant back in the day when that was a thing. And she was very successful, extremely smart, graduate degree in math. I mean, to me, it's like, how am I your daughter? Like, I don't know how I came from you. It's so smart. Extremely knowledgeable, graduate degree, hard worker. And I saw her go from, she wasn't super wealthy, but a very comfortable lifestyle, could pretty much buy whatever she wanted, had a great house, to literally losing everything, living in between motel rooms and living in her car. And sometimes I would stay with her in those times, and not knowing, where the next meal would come from, working at McDonald's. Not that there's anything wrong with that at all. Hey, I was actually happy when she said she got a job at McDonald's, because I knew at least she knew where her next paycheck was coming from. Seriously, that was my life for a little while. And I felt like I had to take on the mom role at times, because she was so consumed with that financial responsibility, given that she had me and she had a lot to provide for. So I saw those two spectrums. I saw somebody who was very wealthy and comfortable and could do whatever they wanted, and somebody lose everything. And so for me as a kid, that translated to it could go away at any moment. And as I started doing our business, and so it drove me to want to be successful, because again, I saw both sides. I think if you come from just having no money, that can sometimes translate differently to somebody than seeing how great money can be. So I was blessed in that way, but it drove me to never want to have that problem ever. But then once I created a great lifestyle for myself, this little voice just kept popping up of, you don't want to lose this. You don't want to lose this. It could all go away tomorrow. You don't want to lose this. So how did that show up in the real world? Well, that showed up as scared to invest, scared to spend, scared. The ultimate embarrassment to me was making a ton of money and then losing it all. I would have rather stayed poor, which is not a good way to think, than make a ton of money and lose it all. And so I'm sure somebody out there can relate to this, in that whatever's happened before, you have some predetermined notion about money that is holding you back, and it's stopping you from investing where you need to invest. It's stopping you from taking risk. It's because of that fear. And so I started doing a very simple exercise, and we talk about this in our book. I'm getting turned around.
Here it is.
Time, money, freedom. But one simple exercise that you can do, and it seems trivial, but it's not. It's very important. Whenever you go to spend something, or you think about an investment you're making, or anything when it comes to money, take note of how you feel physically. Is your heart beating? Are your palms sweaty? Do you feel it in your gut? Like, I would feel it right in here. I would just, it physically would make me ill. Okay. And take note of that, recognize it, release it, say, I release you, take a deep breath, and whatever you used to think, okay, that person no longer exists. Now, every time that thought comes up in your mind of, I'm going to lose this. Oh my gosh, I'm going to lose it all. Oh, this is the worst decision you've ever made. Can you really trust yourself to make this decision? Are you sure you want to do that? Isn't this frivolous spending? Are you sure that this is worth it? All those things that we tell ourselves around money, you just shh, calm that down.
Yeah.
And you say the exact opposite in your mind, the exact opposite. I don't care if you don't believe it at first. You literally tell yourself, this is the best money I've ever spent. I'm going to 10x this investment. I'm going to 10 times whatever I spend today. You know what? I work hard. I deserve this blouse. You know what? Me spending this amount of money is not going to change a damn thing in my life, and I'm going to make it work, and it's going to be amazing, and I'm going to be so happy that and grateful that I did it. You change the way that it comes out in your mind. But first, you need to be aware of the thoughts that are coming up and the physical feeling that you're feeling, and then calm it down, release it, and say the exact opposite to yourself. So that's just one little mind hack around money.
There's so much, like when you said, there was more in the book. There is. And for me, there's both sides of it too. It's that side. And then there's, that's probably like, that would be the worst. Like, I think that would, making a lot of money and then losing it all is to me, and I've never done it, but losing it, it's a horrible thing to say, but I would rather stay what I was used to. You know what I mean? Like, at least I knew how to be poor instead of, go through that experience and then lose it. That's terrifying.
Mm-hmm.
It is terrifying. So it's like and then if you don't, like, there's the opposite where it's spend too much and then it's, it's, I don't know, it's a tough thing, but I think that more than anything, as far as the book goes, that was probably that, and Pluck Your Weeds. I don't know why the definition of weeds wasn't what it was for me. But those two are probably the most impactful for me. And they were all great. All the rules were great, all the chapters. But I think those two, because when I was talking to Ray, when I interviewed him, I had to. I was like, we got to do this. Because, and he was explaining to me, he was like, oh, pluck your weeds. It was just so easy for him to say what it was. I'd love for you to share your definition of what that is to you, just for the audience to see maybe the difference or the same. But then I'll tell you what my thought was.
Yeah. So for those of you who maybe haven't read the book yet, Pluck Your Weeds, it's our 10 simple rules to radically reshape your life. And redefine your life. So one of the rules in there is pluck your weeds. And it may sound simple, but plucking your weeds is really anything that's standing in your way from your goals and desires and dreams. So that doesn't necessarily mean that it's monetary. It doesn't mean it's a person. It might be. And it doesn't mean it's a thing that you do or a habit that you have. It might be. It could be all of those things. It could be none of those things. It's whatever's stopping you from reaching that next level that you're looking to reach. So I'll give you an example. For one of mine was, when the pandemic hit, I was driving our daughter 45 minutes on a good day each way to school every morning. And so I weighed the pros and cons of that. And with traffic, it would be an hour and a half to get there. So I weighed the pros and cons of it because we had our absolute dream home and I loved the house more than anything. But I was literally spending upwards of 3 to 4 hours of my day that I had to focus on more income producing activities, driving her to and from school. Now, you can weigh your options and say, okay, well, I could always hire someone to do that, right? But for me, the time I spent with her taking her to school was not a weed. I didn't want somebody else taking my kids to school. That's just me, because I wanted that time with her to drop her off and pick her up and those smiles on her faces and all that. So we decided to up and move. And it was a weird weed to pluck because there was a lot of things involved, but now I have so much more time to focus on the business, focus on them and what they need before I have to go pick them up from school. So it was definitely a great decision. And that's just one example of many that could be in your life and really stopping you from reaching that next level.
Oh my gosh, I can't. Oh, I mean, I'm such a baby. You say that, and I'm like, I've drove my son to school this whole time, like since he's been in school. And when he first started, it was like 5 minutes, and then we moved, it was 12, and then here it's 11. And I'm like, that's so far. No, wow, that's off the chain. So I'm glad that you are not doing that anymore. But I get it. I want to take him to school, and I get that that's not what everybody wants, you know what I mean? But I want to. And so, yeah, I can't ever believe that I complained about that. That's tough. But for me, you know, I thought weeds were literally, I heard Ray mention, you know, like pluck your weeds. And I literally thought toxic people, like I'm looking for.
Well, it could be that. It could be.
But that was the only thing. Like my mind was so small. And I'm like, where have I couldn't even believe that I didn't. I'm like, okay, all right. And so I was sitting in my chair. I had a white chair before this when we were on it, when I was interviewing him, and I hated it. It was uncomfortable. Okay. And he was talking about a pen that, you know, somebody may, you know, if you get a good pen, if it's a bad pen, and you think you're going to make $1 million with it, why don't you have a good pen, right? Like this pen is going to make me a lot of money if maybe you're right or whatever. And I'm like, well, I make a lot of money in my chair. I should have a good chair.
Totally. Absolutely. It's something that simple.
So now I have a good chair. But I mean, it was just so not, I was so oblivious. And I'm like, I don't know how. Like that goes to show anybody can do this business because I was so oblivious.
Well, and the way that we justify the little things that we don't do is really crazy. Like, you know, the way that we justify keeping that chair, or the way that we justify, you know, like for instance, in our rental, okay, which we're renting right now while we build, and in our rental, there's not 2 offices anymore. So for a while I was like, oh, well, I can make do here on the dining room table. And then I'm like, wait a minute, why? I don't have to make do. So, you know, we got an office.
It's tough to just not make do with I think it's especially for women.
Mm-hmm.
It's like almost a default to like, oh, you know,
I don't need all that. No.
Yeah.
Totally.
Okay. And that was I needed that more than I realized. And I think every woman on the planet, and just to be clear, I want everybody to know that this book, I brought it out. I knew that I was going to put the banner up, but you can get it on Audible. You can get it on the link here that's on the screen is Amazon. But this book is not just like, you can be in network marketing, the direct sales industry. You can be in that and it help you a lot, but you don't have to be. So that's what I want. I want you to be able to see it. I don't know how to, there you go. But I want you to know that you don't have to be, and it will help you a lot. If you just read chapter 2, which is rule 2, that's the one we're talking about, it will probably change your whole life. Obviously I wouldn't skip any, but it's a big deal. And then last, before I let you go, let me see what time it is. Yeah, before I let you go, I got 9 minutes. I want to talk about, I want to read it correctly, but I want to talk about vision really quick for the people that may be stuck. I think especially before, I thought the reasons that I were stuck were different reasons than the reality, which was I didn't have a strong enough vision. Mm-hmm. And so I would love for you to talk about rule number 3, you know, taking your why and turning it into your vision versus why not just a why? Like, you know what I mean? Like, what's the difference? Because that was, I don't think it's so profound that what you don't know until you know, you know?
Yeah, absolutely. Your why can be powerful, but, and I'm sure Ray talked about this as well, but as you watch people who explain their why or have had their why for a long time, you realize that it's really not what's motivating them towards success, because they've had that why forever. And a lot of people who have had, you know, the why of retiring their spouse, or, you know, saving kids from foster care, or providing clean water in Kenya. All of those are great whys or great reasons to do something, but it's not staring them in the face every day to the point where they are motivating and pushing themselves to do something about it. So, and it could be in your face every day. I don't mean just physically. Like, it could be that, hey, you know, I want to retire my spouse. They're miserable, and I see them come home from work every day miserable. But for some reason, it's not uncomfortable enough to push you towards doing what you need to do. So I find that people are either motivated by the carrot and the stick, or the stick. And every time I say this, people are like, what? What do you mean? So the carrot is like the dangly thing. This is your vision. This is who you want to become. This is who you want to be. This is the impact that you want to make, the money you want to make, the person that you want to become in this life, and what legacy you want to hold. That's the carrot, right? And then the stick is like, your spouse is miserable every day. You don't have food on the table for your kids. You can't afford your electric bill next month. Like, that's the stick. So if that isn't, like, if you always find a way to provide your basic needs, which is food, shelter, water, you know, all those things, clothing. If you find a way to where you're at least comfortable, it is very, very difficult to stay motivated unless you have an extremely strong vision. And that vision is when you take that why and turn it into that carrot, that thing that you see, and you become obsessed with it, and you know that you're meant for more, and you're meant to be this person. Hey, girlfriend. Then that is what keeps you driven and what keeps you showing up every day. And so it's extremely important to craft that. It's extremely important to write down, what is it that when you hit that stage and there's 10,000 people watching you, listening to you, what is it that you're going to be wearing? Where are the lights going to be? How are you going to show up? What talk are you going to give that day? Or when you envision 1 million people, you know, on your platform, like maybe that's your social media platform or whatever that is, what advice are you going to be giving them? Who are you going to be helping? What people are going to be coming up to you saying, thank you so much, you've changed my life? What book are you going to write? And those are the types of things that really motivate people to do what they need to do and show up every day. Because the stick, yeah, I'm grateful for it. I'm so grateful for it. Yeah, I'm sure you are too. It pushes you sometimes to get you in that action of where you need to be, but it's not going to keep you there. Once you get comfortable,
you don't have to. You don't have to. And that's why I try to tell, like, I did have that. That's what, at first, I think that's what most people start with, and especially in this industry, is that. But I think once you're comfortable, you got a choice, right? And it's, you either are uncomfortable enough being uncomfortable, or you're comfortably uncomfortable. And at first that was hard for me to wrap my mind around. How can you be comfortable if you're uncomfortable? Like, are you really then? No, you are. And it's because you know that, like, you're used to that. And what's insane though is the moment that you actually know what your vision is, and you know how to craft a vision, like truly that specific, down to, you'll never question it again. Like, I was so sick last year, all year long. Like, I was blew up like a balloon. I was horrible. Like, I was struggling. And I had the best year ever. And it was not because I felt great. Like I felt like I wanted to do it, but I knew what I wanted to do so specifically. I know where I'm going. Like that carrot is in front of my face, so clear. And I think Lisa Grossman, maybe, yeah, I'm pretty sure there was an exercise that I done with her was, for 5 minutes, act like you got no debt, no nothing, and you got unlimited amount of money. You can't pay debt because you don't have any. And what are you going to do with your life? Like, what is it? What will your life look like? And be specific. And that I wrote for 5 minutes. And when I put that with with the book, it made everything. Now I get it. Now I'm there, and I know that I can get there. And I think that's the powerful part about it. You just don't know the piece you're missing until you get it. And I think that's what the book did for me. I've got some comments here, so I'm going to shout out some people. What's up, Marlena, Riley? Riley got hers on Audible.
Awesome.
Let me go back because I saw somebody got one on Amazon. We got people getting it. Let's see. Hello, Sandra. Hello. Deanne.
Well, we hope you love it. And if you do love it, we would love for you to leave us a review on Amazon. And we do read each and every one of those. So that would be amazing. And if you don't like it, then just forget you ever bought it and don't
leave a review at all. But no. And I think my audience knows that I don't just promote stuff to promote it, obviously. And they know that I'm very honest with them in what I use and what I do. And so they know that they're gonna be helped by the book. And what else that I know is if this is what I want you to do. If you share this video, I'm gonna give away. I did this when Ray was on, and I'll do it again. I'm gonna give away 10 copies of the book to if you share this video, you comment that you shared, whether you're seeing this on my YouTube, my page, or my profile. Okay, I'll do like 4, 3, and 3 so that it's even. Just comment shared under the video, and I'll pick people at random. Today is what, Tuesday? So Friday evening, I'll pick some people. I'll get your mailing addresses, and we will get you each a book. I'm going to give away 10. So, and if you already got it, whether it's on Audible, I have to have both. I love Audible, but I like writing in the book. So that's why I didn't open my book and show it, because it doesn't look anything like it did when I bought it. But I love having both. So if you have one or the other and you win, I'll buy you the other one that you don't have, right? And if you already have both, it's cool. I'll send you the regular copy and you can give it away, because I gave them away for Christmas, I don't know, at least 6. So anyway, Jessica, thank you so much for being on with us. I know that you do so much, and it is such an honor for you to be on. My audience, I know they're going crazy here. I just don't want to be staring at my phone. So thank you so much.
Well, thank you for having me on. Appreciate you being so generous, giving those books away. That's so cool. And, Michelle, you are truly one of a kind. And so make sure that if you're on here, you thank her, you message her, thank her for all the value that she provides and just who she is as a person. Might sound lovey-dovey and fluffy on here, but it's so true. I mean, her story, if you don't know her story, which if you're on here, you probably do, but if you don't, reach out to her and ask her about it, because it really is inspiring and truly is what the American dream is all about. So
yeah, I'm so grateful, and everybody knows, but I have to say it, and it can be a love fest. I've never had Jess on, so it's what it is. But everybody knows, and I'm going to say it again. And I don't think I thank you enough, because I'm like, I don't want to bother Jess. But without Jess and without the Higdon group, without Ray, I wouldn't be here 100%. They are. That's why I'm so like, I will give you the book, because I know if you get it and you do what they say, you can change your life 1,000% at any capacity that you want, because I did it. And if somebody like me can do it, there's no question that anybody else can do it. And so, Jess, I'll let you go. Thank y'all for being here again. Share, comment that you've done that so that I can put you in the drawing, and I'll announce the winners on Friday. Thanks so much.
bye, guys.